Hello and welcome to Noni, your morning chat show that brings you the topics and opinions that matter to you. Today we'll be asking, is there an ugly side to social media? And is shopping while black a real thing? And we'll be hearing what you think with your tweets and calls. Joining me on today's show, broadcaster Funmi Ogunja. She's worked both in the UK and across Africa and has contributed to the Voice newspaper and interviewed musicians like Akon and football icons like former French and Arsenal striker Thierry Henry. And Esther Falana, one of the breakout stars from the controversial web series Backchat London. She's known for her honesty when speaking about topics that others may shy away from. So I'm pretty sure both of our guests will have plenty to say on our first topic, social media. Now, the use of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube is a great way and a positive way of keeping up with family and friends. It's quick and easy and has even launched careers from our contributors. But a number of studies has linked the excessive use of social media to depression and anxiety. Now, guys, there's over 3 billion active social media users. I'm one of them, but I'm rubbish. But I've noticed recently, anytime I want to post a picture, I'm kind of double guessing because I'm like, oh my God, is someone going to comment on this? Is my hand in the right position? Esther, do you think this is becoming a normal thing where people are kind of scared of the abuse they're going to get?
I think, yes, everyone at the back of their mind is cautious of what they upload. You know, you check even, you know, is my belly sticking out? You know, is my arm in place? I do believe everyone is cautious. Personally, I believe just be free, but at the same time, I'll be shooting myself in the foot because I am cautious myself. I do double check what I'm about to post. And I think it's such a shame because it shows just how much social media is has a big adverse effect on people's lives. And I think, you know, I still try to be as free as I am because I believe if you allow social media to take over your life, then you're going to end up losing who you are. But at the same time, there is negative sides to social media, you know.
For me, you've got thousands of followers. I wish I could have just give me 1,000 of your followers. But you do have so many. Have you seen recently that people have become more hateful and more uglier?
I think the more followers you get, definitely you're going to get increased negativity because you're opening up yourself to a bigger audience. And it's like Esther said, it's natural, like when you're posting a picture, to feel, is it perfect, is it good? And I even think with what do you call them, filters? Yeah. It does tend to make you feel a bit, maybe not insecure, but when you're just so used to using filters and being perfect, it's like you're looking for perfection in every post and in every picture. And it can be consuming. It is a lot.
What about any personal experiences? I've had some, but it's usually, you know, just not getting enough likes, not getting enough thumbs up. But Esther, have you had any personal experiences where, you know, trolling has gone too far?
Have I? I always do. Like, I always get personal. People go always below the belt. Like, I've had people attack my child, you know, my daughter, you know, people attack me personally, telling me I should go and die, you know. So people take it extremely far.
How does that make you feel?
Do you know what? At first, I'll be honest with you, it was nerve-wracking. It was very disturbing because you think, wow, like I watch a lot of reality TV and I would never in a million years go out of my way to tweet at, you know, however I feel. Yeah. I might be at my TV screaming, exactly. But I will never ever go out of my way to do that. So when people, in the beginning, I struggled, I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle because you have to be really thick-skinned to be able to take what a lot of people throw at you. But as time has gone by, you know, I thought, you know what can't, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me.
Exactly. I remember that. What about you, Funmi? Because you're a glamorous woman, as we can see here. Has anybody tried to come at you for your looks?
I mean, I've experienced an even weirder, bizarre side, catfishing, where someone actually takes your whole identity, your pictures from your Instagram, whatever social media platform is, and poses as you, and actually has relationships as you. Oh and this one particular instant, the guy that was communicating with a so-called me actually reached out to me and I had no idea who he was. And it just made me think, like, how many accounts are out there that we truly, how do you know who you're talking to first and foremost?
Yeah.
And how do you trust people on social media? Because, I mean, that's one of the ugliest and scariest sides for me because you don't know what your pictures are being used for and how they're being used.
But can I say this, ladies? Like me, I'm not popular on social media. I try and post enough pictures, but I'm just not photogenic. I don't update my statuses enough. Would you say, and a lot of people have said this, you basically are responsible for what you put out there.
Yeah.
You know, if you put a picture or if you're out on social media, you're gonna get those hateful comments and you just have to be strong enough. Is that a fair point?
Yes, I do agree with that. I believe you have to take responsibility for what you post, but at the same time, I should be able to post what I like without having a backlash.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we are so accustomed to a way of living today that any little thing that we do, we're so cautious of. We want to do this. With me, that's why I say I'm very free-spirited. Like, you know, I may want to post myself in a bikini. So what? You know, I
You
like
go,
this.
girl.
You
If
know
you
what I
can-
mean?
if you can pull it off.
Yeah, but then I might get a backlash. But at the same time, at the back of my head, I'm still thinking, wow, I know people are going to say, Esther, she's a mum. She's got a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
How can you do that? There's kids on social media, which is true. But what's wrong with me posting a picture?
Can I quickly ask about the black community? Because a lot of people have been saying that, you know, the black community, we don't care about ourselves more. We don't celebrate ourselves as much as Black America do. Do you think black women in the UK are kind of, you know, poke fun and are quick to troll other black women?
Yes.
I think it's the UK. I think it's in general.
I think it's in general. But yes, I do agree. I believe it's really sad that black women do knock other black women down.
Yeah.
You've lived in Nigeria. Do
Yeah,
you think it's
yeah.
quite similar there?
I mean, I think naturally women are just competitive. Like, we don't naturally kind of just support and empower one another. And I think it's deeper than that. We've actually kind of been raised to kind of be competitive towards each other. So you can imagine when it gets to social media, it's amplified. And I just think it exists amongst black women in general. It's actually very sad. It's a shame.
But not even just black women, I think it's the black community, men
yeah.
and women. You know, a lot of times, like, how often do we as black people support each other's businesses, for example? You know, I would say now, in today's generation, we are getting better, a lot better. But before, you know, if you're used to going somewhere and you know, for example, hair, you go to an Asian shop and you know for a fact, this is where I buy my Brazilian hair or my hair extensions, then you see two stores down, a black woman or a black man is selling the exact same type of hair, you're still going to be going to the shop where the Asian man is because you're accustomed to a certain way of living. But now I feel like today you see a lot of black businesses, you see a lot of black men and women, you know, being successful. And I feel like today we are trying, we are supporting one another, we are reaching out and saying, okay, I heard that, you know, he's selling it, let me go to him rather than going to where I usually would go.
We need to be more supportive, isn't it? And I suppose for the younger generation, I think it's even worse. But we're going to continue talking about this after the break, so do save your thoughts. Well, coming up, we continue our chat on the negative aspects of social media. And have you ever been racially profiled whilst out shopping? We'll be hearing your stories and experiences of shopping while black. More after the break. Welcome back to Noni. Still to come on today's show, shopping whilst black. Is this something you've experienced? We'll be taking your calls and tweets. Now, before the break, we were talking about the ugly side of social media. So how can we protect ourselves? Guys, I've got to put this to you. We're all mothers here. And it's getting scarier because, you know, there have been so many different studies that say too much use on social media or not getting enough likes is linked to depression. For me, we've had a chat backstage and you said you wish you were educated more.
Yeah, I mean, coming into social media, instantly I put out my name, and it's not a regret, but I wish I would have been a bit more creative, because when you think about it, someone has my full name, you know, could probably Google my age, knows where I live. You could create a whole new identity with, you know, with my details. So I wish I kind of was more creative in how I kind of put myself out on social media, but they don't tell you these things.
No, they
It doesn't come
don't.
with a manual.
Esther, you know, you've been out there on Backchat London. Do you sometimes regret anything you've posted? Because that's a lot of the education, you know, saying to people, whatever you put on the internet stays there. It doesn't die.
Yeah. Do I regret? Oh, that would be Esther not being Esther then, isn't it? To be honest with you, whatever I post, I try to make sure that I stand by what I say. Yeah. If you say to me, do I regret saying anything in the past, possibly on my previous show, possibly I could have said it better. But I wouldn't say I regret it. I think you can't live with regret. I think it's all about moving forward and learning from your mistakes. how I would protect myself and do it differently now. To be honest with you, there's no manual, there's no handbook. Like literally, I never thought in a million years that the way I, rocketed from the show would have ever have happened like that. So I think it's just about now for a younger generation, I would say, whoever is, if you decide to put yourself on a platform, speak to people that are already out there.
And that's the education, isn't it? Because even me, there's some pictures I've seen of myself on certain platforms and I'm like, oh my God, boy, delete. You go down the gram and you're like, oh my God, I don't want anyone to see. So as you get older, you do change. So I think this education is important, but how young do we go for me?
I mean, you've got kids as young as like in school using all these social media platforms. I mean, I just think we can't, there is no manual, but you just have to kind of be careful, however, whatever generation you belong to, put out what you can actually handle negative feedback for. Like, I personally don't put out too much about my, my relationships or my child, because those are sensitive issues, sensitive matters to me that I wouldn't want anyone to even cross the line with. So I just don't put it out. So, I mean, that's one advice or one rule I live by when it comes to social media.
How young will you let your children, have a Facebook account or an Instagram account? Because a lot of celebrity children now, they've all got Instagram accounts. From when they're pregnant, they've got that name there, so nobody can use it. Do you think there's too young?
Do you know, personally, I wouldn't, my daughter is not, until she's of age, and I would say of age, which is secondary school possibly, because I think it's in secondary school, that's when a lot of kids really, are into social, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. But as of this age, my daughter's 5, there's no way she's using it. Like it's just not happening.
What about posting pictures of her? Do you think that's, because that's not her choice, is it?
Yeah, it's true. Do you know what it is? Posting pictures, I used to previously post a lot of pictures of my daughter, because my daughter's my pride, she's my joy. And
she should be.
Why not share it with the world? This is my happiness, But when I did become quite, popular on social media, I decided that I saw the comments people would say and I started to remove them. Now, if you go on my social media, you might see 1 or 2 pictures of my daughter, because I am a mother.
Beautiful. She's beautiful,
thank you. Because I am a mother and I don't want to shy away from that. And this is my profile. That is part of who I am. So I still do. She hasn't got a choice, but as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I will do all I can to protect her in terms of, making sure that she's not on it personally herself. It's a decision that I've chosen to make, but everyone makes different decisions. But, as I said, it's a part of me. She's a part of me. When she gets older and she's able to understand, then she can then decide, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? Knowing her, she is going to do it.
$1 million question. Would you come off social media?
Would I come off?
Would you deactivate the gram?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. For a family, I would definitely.
I don't think I would. I mean,
you don't post as much as you used to.
You just don't have to post as much. I don't think I would completely disappear, but I do take social media breaks sometimes, where it can get a lot.
Why?
Because it can get a lot, like sometimes you feel pressured. Like sometimes I used to get messages from people, you haven't posted in a while, when's the next post? And sometimes, when you're in social media too much, it can be consuming.
Yes.
So
you wake up in the morning
and the first thing you're doing, while you're in bed, you're scrolling, and it's just like, what was life like before social media?
Do you know what? I think that's a good part to leave this chat on. I'm sure we're going to pick up it later in the series, but great talking to you about that.
Thank you.
Have you ever been out shopping to grab a pint of milk or treat yourself to a new pair of jeans, and suddenly out of nowhere that random security guard is on your tail? It's probably less about giving you a helping hand and more to do with the colour of your skin. Racial retail profiling, or more commonly known as shopping while black, is something that black British people are all too familiar with, no matter your age, gender or background. The term, coined in the US, isn't just for everyday folks like you and me. Even the world's richest woman, Oprah Winfrey, was once targeted. Guys, we've all been through this.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting though, because I know you have differing opinions on this. Esther, if you're not a thief, you shouldn't care if people call you a thief. Is that what you think?
Yeah, like if I'm not a thief, people are always going to have opinions of you. If I'm not a thief, I'm going to walk through that store with my head held high. I'm going to, I go to Tesco's and I take, now you've got to carry your own bag now. Like I go to Tesco's.
And other retail stores.
I've got to carry, so when I'm going to the supermarket, I'll carry my bag, I open my bag, because if I've forgotten to pick up a trolley, for example, or a basket, I will put it inside that bag and I will carry it to the till and unpack it. That's just me, because I'm a very confident person. Like, if you want to go to war with me, I'm ready to go to war with you.
I wouldn't want to go to war with you.
But you see the way you say that, I'm not a thief, so I'm going to carry myself, but I'm not a criminal, so don't treat me like a criminal.
I agree with that.
Don't follow me around the store
and
make my experience uncomfortable.
So even if you're confident with it, Esther, are you saying that it doesn't exist, or you know it exists, but you just don't care?
Do you know what it is? I think the older I've gotten, when I was a lot younger as a school kid, yes, it was very, very high. Like, you would go into a shop, security's following you around. You don't know, my mum gave me £10 for that week, so I do have money to buy what I'm going to buy in a store. Now I've gotten older, I think I'm a lot more, I don't look at it as much because I know I'm confident within myself. I know what I'm going to go and do.
We've actually got somebody calling in from Essex. Aisha, why do you think people are suspicious of black shoppers? What is it about somebody that's black and dressed in a suit or dressed in a hoodie that they're suspicious of us?
I have no idea. It's an assessment. It's a wrong assessment that people make that, you know, black people don't have the money or that it's generalization.
Yeah.
It's a generalisation. I want to throw this back into the studio now, because of course we know that there are wealthy black people. You know, they're shopping in central London and really high-end stores, and they're paying for the goods. So it's not like we don't have any money. What is it for me?
It's like Kula said. It's generalising it, and it's stereotypes. And I mean, if you go down to the nitty-gritty, it's racism. If you think about it, because it's like, you know, why are you judging me or the color of my skin? Like, I've been in stores where, you know, they kind of look down on you, like they think you can't afford this. Like, she ain't gonna shop. So you just get that cold shoulder. It's so disheartening, and it puts me off from even spending my money. Do you understand? So I definitely think it's purely down to racism.
But Esther, the power of the black dollar and the black pound, I don't want to go on to the whole Black Panther thing, but, you know, they know that, you know, there is money in black people's hands. So isn't it doing a disservice to the store?
I do believe so. It is doing a disservice to the store, but that's why I go back to confidence. Like, I'm the type of person that if I feel that I feel like I'm being discriminated, I feel like I'm being watched, or I feel uncomfortable while I am shopping when I shouldn't feel like that, I will ask to speak to a manager. I will take it upon. And the thing is, I feel like as black people, we need to start making use of the services that are available to us, in the sense that if you feel discriminated, speak about it, ask to speak to management, complain. Let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, a black person is not going to bother.
You've got too many other things on your mind.
And that's why it continues and continues. With me, I've got time. I've been to a restaurant before and I felt discriminated. I asked for the complaints procedure. I wrote in. They actually emailed me back and asked me to come back for a free service.
This is deeper, isn't it? It's not just about a black woman or male going into a shop and a security guard following. This is about racial profiling. And we've seen the extent it can get to in America. Do you think that we don't talk about it enough in the UK?
I think we don't. I think we don't. But do you know what it is? I think that the racial profiling in the UK, it is not as bad as it is in America.
Yeah, that's true.
I think America, it's, you know, I don't know if I was living in America.
You can get shot.
Yeah, exactly. It's unacceptable. It scares me. So in the UK, I would say that it's not as bad, but there is secretly, we are still being racially profiled. You can go into a store and be looked at. You can go into a store and be frowned upon. You can go into a store and not get the great service that someone else.
Into a restaurant, and you know,
and get the table at the back. It still happens, and like you said, like, we're not talking about it enough. We're not doing enough.
And I feel like if we come together and if we believe me, the power of many is so powerful. Like, I may complain, but if 5 people complain, you would see that there is a difference.
It's interesting, because even though we said there's an ugly side of social media before, clearly in situations like this you need social media, because you need to be putting it out there. You need to be naming and shaming these businesses and these brands that are racially profiling you. Esther, what do you think about that?
I agree. Like I said before, I'm all for making complaints, making sure that my voice is heard. Like, I don't like to be belittled. I don't like to feel like, you know, oh my gosh, I go somewhere and, you know, so complaints, making sure that your voice is heard and following through with it. If we, like I said, 1 voice, 2 voices, 3 voices, we're a lot more powerful. So making a complaint, following it through, you know, and getting your compensation.
The only thing is, how many times do we actually do it? There are so many times I'm like, I'm going to complain. My husband was like, don't complain. What do you mean? And I'm like, no, I want your email. I'm doing it. Do I do it?
They've made it so easy now with this whole reviewing system now. Like,
Yes.
you go review your meal, review your experience, and these owners and these brand owners are actually replying and responding.
Because if you go online, just even look at a review online. You know,
that's enough whether you're going to go there or not.
Exactly, and you know, you'll see that the company will actually respond to a bad review and say, we apologise, you can come back in, we'll offer you a free service of this or free service of that. So review is very important. Complaints, you will be heard one way or another.
But do you think people abuse that though? Do you think people abuse the reviewing system where people like, you know, they go in and they're looking for trouble? You know, it can be innocent. I've actually been in situations where, you know, a waiter may look at somebody funny and they're like, is it because I'm black? I hate saying that, but sometimes people do, you know, they hold on to it.
Do you know what it is? I think people do sometimes.
But you have to
it's such a thin, like it's a very blurry line. Like we can't say it could be, you know, based that on a personal experience that person's experienced, that they feel like, no, this person's look is reminded me of how someone else looked at me. So it's a blurry line. I wouldn't want to make a comment on based on someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, that's it for me, Juliana Olayinka, and my lovely co-host for the morning, Esther Falana, and Fumi Ogunja. Don't forget, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the upcoming subjects. Join me tomorrow for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.